Hello and welcome to week 1, unit 3 titled User Story of our openSAP course SAP Cloud Application Studio for SAP Business by Design. I am Guru Prasad Dorai and I am a senior project consultant with SAP Business by Design development team. As mentioned in the previous unit, this course is modeled based on a user story and most of the artifacts of SAP Cloud Application Studio will be created based on this user story. Let us now get into more details on the user story. The user story is based on an internal job portal in an organization. As a first step, the vacancy in a team or an org unit will be created, and upon approval from the unit head or a manager of the org unit, the corresponding job application would be published. Once the job is published, candidates will apply for the published job opportunities. The org unit or the manager will then shortlist the candidates based on their skill set and conduct an interview. The interview process is an offline process and will not be part of the user story. The candidates will be then informed about their application status based on the manager's decision. If a candidate is selected, then an offer letter will be generated and the corresponding job application will be closed, which means this job will be fulfilled and will not be available for any other candidates to apply. Now with the user story established, we can conclude on the below 3 personas, and the roles for each of the personas are as follows. HR administrator is one of the role, candidates and the manager. Let me go into the deep dive of each of these personas. The HR administrator will have a view of job profiles from where he or she can create and maintain job profiles. Once the job profile is created, manager will be informed to approve or reject the same. Approval process will be covered as part of week 4. However, until then, the HR administrator will have the privilege to change the status from draft to publish. Furthermore, the administrator will also be responsible for shortlisting the candidates, which should be an offline process, and finally trigger the offer letters for the selected candidates. The candidates will have a view of only the jobs which are published, and the candidates will then select any suitable job opportunity and apply for the job mentioning their skill sets and their achievements. The candidates will be allowed to apply for multiple job opportunities. Also, he or she will be allowed to withdraw from any of the job opportunities which they have applied for. And finally, the manager persona. Manager will approve the job profile submitted by the HR administrator, conduct interviews which will be an offline process, and then finalize the candidates based on the candidates' interview and skill sets. Note that for each of the mentioned personas, we will define custom business objects and custom views. The views for each of these personas will be controlled based on the authorizations. At the end of your 5 weeks learning journey, here is how the visualization and the outcome of your user story would be. I would quickly launch the SAP Business by Design, and here is where we have created the custom business objects and the custom UIs. I hope it would be an interesting visualization for you after your 5 weeks of learning, and this is how your screens would look like. So now this is the persona or the view of the administrator, and this is the landing page, the job profile work center for the administrative user. So here on the first screen, you could see the list of all the jobs which is available for the administrator, which he or she is created in the system. He could go ahead and create new, or he could go ahead and edit the already created job profiles and maintain other attributes if required. He could delete in case if he feels that this is not required anymore, and he could also change the status of each of these job profiles. He could either publish or make it obsolete or close the job profile. For now, I would go ahead and create a new job profile. So I give a job ID give a title to this. The posting date, let us say I want this job to be effective from 1st Jan and till when you want this job to be listed. Let us say I want this to be listed till May, and then I select the work area. Here you could see that there are various options which is available for the administrator to select the corresponding work area. So, since I have maintained the title as sales manager, I would select the corresponding work area as sales, and then the employment type, you want the candidate to be a full time employee or a contract or a part time. I would select a full time, and I could give a hiring manager ID, and from the list here I select one of the hiring manager, and note that as soon as I enter the hiring manager ID, the name is auto populated. We would see all these information as how to do all the logic for retrieving the hiring manager in the next units. I provide a job location or a country where this job profile would be listed for. Let us say for example I give Germany, and then I click on save. Note that certain information like the status and the system administrative data are auto populated. We will talk about all these in the later units. For now I would just like to close this and then view, or I would come back and edit this. So, I close this job profile. This is the latest job profile which I have created. I could click on the edit button, and then in case I feel that I do not want this job profile till May, I would like to probably keep it till April 30th. I could do that, and I could save this, yeah, and I close. And with these action buttons, now I could go ahead and publish this job. So, once I click on publish, which means this job profile would be available for the candidates who could then go ahead and apply for this particular job. So, I click on publish, and you could see the status of this job profile just changed from open to published. So, now as part of the user story, I could go ahead into the candidate's work into the candidate user and then create or apply for this job profile. For now, I have provided all the authorizations to this user. So, I would go into the job listing, which is the candidate's view. Here he could see the list of all the job profiles which is published, and then he or she could apply for that particular job profile. So, I select the one which we just created. I could go into edit mode, and then I provide the necessary information like the email ID, the phone number, what are the achievements of this candidate, and then I could also add a attachment here. It could be a resume or whatever, and then I could go ahead and click on apply. For now, I am not going to enter all these information. I just click on apply, and I click on save, and I click on close. Now, when I click on refresh, you could see that against this job profile for this candidate, it shows that the applied indicator is set, which means this job profile is being applied by this candidate. Now, once this is done, then as part of the third persona, which is the manager, he could then go ahead and then conduct the interview in an offline process and then select or reject this candidate based on that. I have already assigned this work center to the same user. So, I would go ahead and click on job applications and check for the job ID which we just created, and then I could either accept or reject. Let us say the candidate has fared well in the interview, and then I want to take in this candidate into my team. So, I would just go ahead and click on accept. Yeah. So, with this we have come to the end of the demo. I would go back to the slides to just summarize what we have done in this unit. With this, we come to the end of week 1, unit 3, user story. In the next unit, I will take you through the concept of business objects, and how to create business objects. For now, thank you for your time and have a nice day.